Good evening, everyone. I'm Lissy Bastian. It's Tuesday, September 1st. It's good having you with us. Today marks 1 year anniversary since Hurricane Dorian barreled its way towards our shores, shredding through Abaco and Grand Bahama, and a son's retelling the tale of losing his father during the monster storm. With the story, we go to our Leah Cooper.
42-year-old Michael Dawkins Jr. recounts receiving the devastating news that his father, Michael Dawkins Sr., passed away with no idea where his body lies. Mr. Dawkins says his father's girlfriend, who was weathering the storm with him in Dundastown, Abaco, told him that Dorian's 21-foot sea surge burst through their home's windows. While making their way through water up to their necks, he said the couple tried to evacuate the home, but the roof caved in on them, injuring his father's head. After making his way out of the home, Mr. Dawkins says his father gave up and uttered his last words, which was, "I'm going home to be with my mother." Shortly after, another sea surge swept his father's body away, and there's been no word on his whereabouts since then.
Today makes a year since it happened. So we from the family group today, and we say, we're going to talk about all the positive stuff, and how he used to make people laugh and everywhere he go, and how he's quick on his mouth and his feet and stuff like that. He was short in the stature, but he was big. He's big like his personality, his character. Was awesome.
Mr. Dawkins recalls happier times where he and his dad were a part of a gospel band where his father played the bass guitar and he played the keyboard. He said his dad was full of life, and that's how he wishes to remember him.
We do a lot of things together. I have a lot of memories of doing things. The good and the bad. So I would have to keep them memories with me, because that's the only thing that I have, and I said we couldn't really get the closure. Closure would have been so good if I could have seen him. Unfortunately not. And then who's to say Daddy wasn't even inside the trailer where they had in Abaco for months and months and months, and I don't know.
After a few failed attempts to find his father's remains last year, Dawkins says his family has now given up. Now, despite their crazy year, he says the Dawkins family plans to do something special in honor of Michael Dawkins Sr.
The Dawkins family, they made up a poster and stuff like that in a week. So what they're going to do is they're going to put it in the water near to where he was, to where he lost his life. They're on the bay. They're going to set it off right there. Wow. So he's still to be honored.
Hurricane Dorian pummeled the islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama on September 1st, 2019, killing scores of residents and leaving hundreds missing. Reporting for Jcn News, I'm Leah Cooper.
Well, as the country, in particular the Northern Bahamas survivors of Hurricane Dorian, reflect on the worst storm in history, our news team spoke with several ministers who all spoke to the tremendous impact that the storm had on the lives of Bahamians. Our Laurencia Smith has that angle.
Category 5 Hurricane Dorian that ripped through Abaco and Grand Bahama with winds greater than 185 miles per hour has been defined as one of the worst natural disasters in the country's history, costing billions of dollars in damages, more than 50 deaths, and some 200 persons still missing. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Member of Parliament for North Abaco, Darren Henfield, reflects on the anniversary, which he says he has approached with mixed emotions.
Of course, Abaco is not fully lit as yet. We have restored, to my understanding, 75 to 80% of the power. And so that lends itself to those type of activities and places where people might not have returned home in full mass as we were before.
Education Minister Jeff Lloyd says that his heart bleeds for those who have lost their lives and those who have been severely disaffected.
My heart bleeds for those who have lost their lives and those who have been so severely disaffected. This is a day that the Bahamian people should in memory celebrate and give God thanks for his grace and mercy that he has spared us, again, a serious hurricane, but at the same time, to thank God for the gift of those persons who have been generous, the NGOs from both inside and outside of the Bahamas who have come to assist us, and we continue to hold in our hearts the prayers for those who have lost their loved ones, and as well for those whose lives have been upended and disrupted as a result of Dorian.
The newest Minister of Health, Randall Bells, also reflecting on the monster storm that has had an impact on the minds and hearts of Bahamians.
As a people, we are a very resilient people, as has been proven over this past year. No one would have thought that a year ago, actually a couple of months into 2019, that actually we would be here in 2020, facing two really major catastrophes, one Dorian and now the COVID-19 pandemic. But the Bahamian people are a group of people who are resilient. We are bold, beautiful, creative, innovative, and if it's one thing we are capable of doing, is getting through difficult and tough times.
As for what still goes on both Abaco and Grand Bahama following the storm, Abaconians and Grand Bahamians still recovering from the hurricane with the help of the Government Disaster Preparedness Management and Reconstruction Ministry, which was established following the storm. For JCN News, I'm Laurencia Smith.
Nearly $18 million have been spent so far on post-Dorian school repairs on the islands of Abaco and Grand Bahama. This coming from Minister of Education Jeffrey Lloyd during a virtual press conference yesterday.
We have been working to upgrade and modernize all of our campuses. And to that extent, we have spent millions of dollars, in fact, tens of millions of dollars have been expended in this area, particularly our schools in Abaco, which were damaged in Hurricane Dorian. Work has been carried out on all of our public schools in Abaco. And our post-Dorian repairs in Abaco alone has incurred over $12 million, while $5+ million was spent on repairs in Grand Bahama.
Minister Lloyd announced that the Central Abaco Primary School repairs should be completed by the end of 2020 fall term, while the Patrick Bethel High School should see completion of 12 classrooms during the same time frame. The remainder of the school's repairs should be completed by early 2021. As for other islands school campuses, they have been receiving upgrades as well.
As I indicated, the ministry has spent quite a bit of money repairing our schools. On the island of New Providence, more than $12 million, repairing 49 primary and high schools along with 11 libraries during the 2019 summer repairs program. Our 2020 summer repairs costs are projected to estimate around $27 million. Why? Because we want to make sure that our schools can reopen.
Minister Lloyd contends that the ministry wants to make sure schools can reopen with all health protocols in place to ensure the safety of all stakeholders. An additional 50 cases of COVID-19 confirmed in the Bahamas yesterday. The Ministry of Health reporting that 33 of those new cases are here in the capital, 2 in Grand Bahama, 3 in Inagua, 2 in Mayaguana, 1 in Long Island, and 9 confirmed cases with locations pending. These cases bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 2,217. There have been 1,378 confirmed cases of the virus in New Providence, 552 confirmed cases in Grand Bahama, 67 in Abaco, 53 confirmed cases in Bimini, 19 in Exuma, 15 in the Berry Islands, 11 confirmed cases in Inagua, 8 in Cat Island, 6 confirmed cases in Eleuthera, 4 confirmed in Ackland, 2 in Crooked Island, 2 in Long Island, 2 confirmed cases in Mayaguana, 1 confirmed case in Andros, and 97 confirmed cases with locations pending. The Ministry of Health also confirming the unfortunate death of a 77-year-old man of New Providence who passed away yesterday. Consequently, the death toll now stands at 44. There are now 1,352 active cases in country. 66 of those cases are hospitalized. There's 801 recovered cases thus far, 7 non-COVID related deaths and 13 deaths under investigation. 11,165 tests have been completed. Scores of Chinese workers stood outside of the Chinese embassy today on Shirley Street demonstrating or protesting with the hope to have their voices heard as they request to return to their country. Yin Hingong, consular of the Chinese embassy in the Bahamas, says that the embassy is doing their best to coordinate a charter flight in the near future for the nearly 200 workers who wish to leave the Bahamas. Mr. Yin added that the Chinese workers were concerned about the COVID-19 pandemic. However, they were requesting to return home long before COVID-19 had hit the Bahamas. You're watching JCN News. When we return, national exams will continue in 2 weeks, and a man arraigned on murder charges with 4 Defense Force officers charged with violating curfew. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.